Are you a realtor who struggles with you've got clients that have really messy houses and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to list that house. It's a disaster. Well, I've got some tips for you on how you can talk to them, how you can give them their wish list, your wish list of what they need to do, how to have frank conversations, and also how to do some staging yourself for those homes. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, man. I've got some tips at the end of some links that I'm going to share. And please subscribe, ask your questions, and let's get at it, right? So when I first got into the business, I was broke, right? So I'm out at these garage sales and I'm picking up pieces like you see in my background at different garage sales for maybe $1, $2, maybe even $5, depends on what it was. And I'm just kind of storing them at my little baby house and kind of accumulating things for the listings that I did have. But that's really not where I want to go with this. I really want to start with my first conversation that I have with the clients about, the look of their home. So in the beginning, I used to walk around the house and I would say, oh, we're going to need to do something here and here and here in these rooms. And I would have my pen and paper and blah, blah, blah. Well, do you want to know how to blow listings? That's it. Don't do that. Never do that again. I blew many listings like that. And finally, hello, don't do that again. Wait till you have the listing agreement. Now we start having the conversation. So I would say, now we've signed the listing agreement. And I say, I'm going to give you my wish list of all the things that I would like that you do for this house. Now, you don't have to do a one. And if you don't, there's a price to pay. Not with me. There's going to be a consequence for how quickly your home gets sold or how much you get lowballed in your offer. I personally believe in pricing the property below the value just a little bit, especially in today's market, because I want multiple offers. There is a lean supply of properties. And so sellers are believing that they need to go higher because why would they ever go the right price, because they're going to miss out on someone overpaying. No, it's not working that way. You know it, I know it. So here's the deal. You do your comps on the house. Now you find your price and I suggest we go maybe 5,000, 10,000, less than that. I do my magic marketing and hopefully we're going to get you multiple offers within a week. Now that doesn't always work, but presentation, which is what I'm getting back to, is critical. So if the shelves of the house look like this, well, that's beautifully staged, right? And that's kind of the feel that you want. But you're looking at their stuff. It's beat up, it's a mess, and that's not going to work. So now I'm going to tell them about my wish list. So I say, on that wish list, I'm going to ask you to do a lot. And you're going to decide what you're willing to do. And I'm going to let you know that how much I feel that what you're willing to do might affect your price. Now we've agreed on a number, but maybe it won't work because you haven't done your part on the house that really needs to happen. So let's say all the vents in the house where the HVAC were really dirty. That means they are not maintaining their HVAC units. So first of all, I'd say call the HVAC guy, have an inspection on your stuff, and clean those vents, every single one of them spotless. But do have the guy come out and check out your system because it's going to be inspected anyway. Let's be proactive, right? So that would be an example of one. Another one might be they got all these personal things all over, like the shelves. They're full of stuff with the kids or full of collectibles. Oh my God, the collectibles. So I'd say all the collectibles, they need to be packed up because they're valuable. We don't want anything happening, something accidentally getting knocked over, whatever. Pack up all the collectibles. They got to be packed up anyway, right? Consider a storage unit where you could put some of this stuff if we need that, or we can put things that we're boxing up in the garage, assuming you have one. However, I need 1.5 foot width off the side of the wall of the garage, all the way around the garage. I need that in my state because we do termite inspections here, and the termite inspector is going to need to get in there, and he's got to be able to walk that pathway around your garage. I also need the panel with all the electrical easily accessible. So I want that done when we're getting our house ready, because if you do it, now we go under contract and now I'm asking you to move all the boxes, you're going to go out of your mind. You're not ready for that. So I prep that ahead of time, right? So let's say I've got their favorite recliner chair that's just a disaster. I'm either going to say we need a cover for that, same thing with a couch that you got to get off Amazon that you may not use unless you want to take it to the next house, or we need to put that in storage. If that's going with you, that's got to go in storage. If they collect antiques, unless the whole house is incredible, I don't want those antiques there. You want to know why? Because mentally it ages the house. And I say, let's get them packed up, let's get them in storage, and let's move them out because I want to bring in some things. Now, I don't mind having an empty house because see these shelves in the background here? If I had an empty house, I'm going to bring my stuff that I picked up either from TJ Maxx on sale, I picked up from the garage sales. Tag sales are a big thing around here. Now I'm in a wealthier area. There's a lot of waterfront homes here, and they have a thing called tag sales. And the tag sales are where these wealthy people are selling off one of their second or third homes, and they usually sell every single thing in the house. And our gal Nancy Baldwin, who does them here, Nancy Baldwin's Tag Sale Treasures, she has a following, and I'm one of the followers. I found out about her when I was doing parking duty with one of my guys who worked for her on the weekends, getting some of these antiques that would be in these houses. He would buy them and he would go sell the antiques. He goes, you need to know about Nancy's tag sales. So I started going to these multi-million-dollar homes and seeing all these goodies in there that were, some of them, because they were second homes, were barely used. So the first thing I wanted was the linens. I wanted first the linens for my own home because I didn't have many, and then I wanted them for the staging. And the staging, you typically want white towels if there's a colored bathroom, or a soft color like a cream or a beige or a teal, soft colors that you can put in different bathrooms. And you want all these little accent pieces that you can get. So I would be looking for things like that at every sale thing that I would see. And I would put them in order of my boxes, like here's my linens, here's my little knickknacks, here's kitchen stuff. I always had a wine rack with empty wine bottles that I would put in the kitchen. I would have candles that I would never light that would just be in there. I would find silk flowers if they were decent at different places as well. Like, see that branch in the back there? I love that little branch. It's just sitting on some books. And then I would go on Pinterest for ideas, because that's a great place for how to staging. That's not my background. That's not something I do. If you saw my house, you'd see she doesn't stage her house. No, I live very basic. But that's how you can do it. Pinterest is a wonderful tool. Those little places to get that estate. So now I've told my clients that I want to thin out all these different things. I've had them where the beds didn't even have bedspreads on, or they had hideous bedspreads. So I had my own neutral bedspreads, and I had lots and lots of pillows. So I even had pillows that would be a normal pillow underneath the bedspread, right? Because they would have these flat ones or really beat up ones, because people are just living in their homes. They don't need to have it look fresh as a daisy, right? So I had king size bedspreads, queen size, twins, and those were all in my boxes. I ended up needing a little storage unit that I had that I would go have shelves on it with all the different things that I had, all organized the way that I needed it to be. Big vases for like in a corner, things like that. But it was not a big storage unit. I think it was probably 8 by maybe 10, something like that, 8 by 10. Looking at my room, it wasn't big, and I think I paid $115 a month for it. And it was very important because I did a lot of listings. Now, if you've got room in your basement where you can do that, or your garage, do it. I didn't have a garage at the time. Now I do. And I just started accumulating different things. And sometimes agents would get out of the business who had staging stuff, and they'd say, I'm selling all my stuff. You could get it at scrap because they were just really ready to let it go. I cherry picked through that stuff too. But staging the house is critical. So now let's say I've changed out the beds, I've changed out their towels, and now if they're still living in the house, They're going to be tempted to use my towels. I go, no, my towels are not to be used. You got your own, you just set them on the counter and you use them. When you leave for the showings, this is when you make sure that mine are all nice and neat and look just like I did it when I completed staging your house, right? Now, I don't charge for that. That's one of my services that I do for my clients. And so once I've got the listing, I know when my photographer's coming. I get my little SUV out there and it's loaded to the gills, and sometimes I got to make 2 trips. I rarely have done furniture. I had a few end tables, like for an empty house. I would put, like a lamp on there because I got some great deals on some lamps. The tall ones are really good, for that. But I'm trying to fill a naked room with some warmth, right? So I definitely want my kitchen filled up. You can get canisters, different things like that. Definitely the wine bottles, empty wine ones, because I had one and I dropped one. Not good. And let's see. So that's how I would stage the house. Now, my wish list, I would tell my clients, if you don't want to do any of this, that's okay. We'll stick with our price. We'll do our best. But I want you to know it's not going to show as good. The pictures won't show as good, and it won't show as good. Also, I wanted the front of the house. I wanted new bedding in the gardens there. If it was weeded up, get that done, trim those trees. I would really evaluate the full look of the house. I would talk to them about plants in the front of the house with nice flowers that they needed to water. If they didn't live there anymore, I don't want any live plants that we got to worry about watering. I'm not coming back to water them. It's not an efficient use of my time. So the whole presentation, if the driveway needed to be power washed, that was on my list too, right? I want the driveway power washed, and I would have the resources for them to do. I want them to think of me as Kathy's got a guy. So if we had issues with the roof, let's get it fixed. I'm not a big proponent of doing an inspection before we put it on the market, unless the house is kind of a disaster, because the buyers are going to do their own inspections, and you basically got to spend all the money to do the inspections on the premise that they're going to want them done, where I got a better negotiation strategy if we let them do their own. Now, if I see specific things that need fixing, I'm going to tell you that needs to be handled. And if they can't have the money to fix it, then we're going to put it in the disclosure so it's very clear. And likely we would get quotes on what it would cost, so we would have that available for that, right? So that's very important. So again, it's that first vision of what you see when you drive up. Ideally, I want my pictures to really reflect a staged home. And those little things, you can do that over a period of time where you're accumulating it, because not every house you're going to need to have a staged. And you may do a mix of buyers and sellers, so you're more out with buyers than you are with sellers. This is really, if you're the listing agent, of how you want to approach it, your timing on when you're going to ask for these things to be done, how you do your price drop based on that. If they don't want to do those things, I would be having a conversation. Okay, so now we did our price at this price, and I did it based on today's condition, of how I was going to do it. I think that we'll be able to get more in multiple offers if you do these other things. I think I'm going to get less than our price because you're not willing to do some of these things, but we will see. You are the boss. I always say, you're the boss. You make the decisions. This is my wish list. I'm going to tell you why I think there's consequences for not doing what I say, and you'll be the judge, because you're the boss. And so I would prep in their head, though, that if they wouldn't do it, I'd want to know, are you receptive to a price reduction within about 2 weeks? Because in 2 weeks, majority of people have already going to seen it and have come if they liked it. If we didn't get them in 2 weeks, that means we typically have to drop our price. And I hate chasing the price, because you're never going to get the real number that you want. If we had done all these things up front and we priced it the way that I suggested initially, then you're going to get probably more than you expected, but very rarely less. Things happen, but that's the agenda. That's been my experience with doing all these homes. So do you see what I'm saying? That's that whole prepping. So I encourage you to go to the garage sales get your cards in your backpack and try and start finding those. I did a whole video on the garage sale, so check that one out. And this one is really just about the staging and how to have the presentation and how to prepare your clients mentally as well as visually, and what you need to do to level up your listings as well. So if you like things like this, please stay to subscribe below, share this with your friends, ask me questions. And if you're that realtor who needs help building your business, you want to level up, schedule a business strategy call with me. I'll help you, I swear. Let's see what we can do together, and give me a shout out. I've got the link below to schedule a business strategy call with me. And I wish you the best. Stay tuned, spread the word, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.